All right, so I'm keeping the away team.
Welcome to the Telstar High School varsity basketball. Tonight has our hometown Rebels squaring off against the Carrabec Cobras. And now for your starting lineups for the Cobras. Number 12, Ayana Tibbetts. Number 14, Macy Porter. Number 15, Karen Baker. Number 24, Ava Welsh. And number 3, Anna Kelly. Let's get loud for your hometown Rebels. We'll start off tonight with senior number 15, Haley Smith. Junior number 12, Katie Campbell. Junior number 31, Tasia Lego. Sophomore number 13, Emma McPherson. And sophomore number 14, Addie Kimball. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to rise and remove your headgear for the playing of our national anthem.
All right, good evening everybody and welcome to tonight's high school girls and boys varsity basketball doubleheader between the Telstar Rebels and the Carrabec Cobras. It's Monday, January 27th. The Cobras are 10-4 and the Rebels are still searching for their first win of the year. I'm Danny Whitney, joined by Andy Whitney, Joel Clark, Brooks and Josh Morton behind the scenes. And Andy, how are you today?
Not too bad. How are you?
Doing well.
Yeah, and it's good to see Jewel here. I haven't seen you in a while.
No, and my schedule says it starts at 5:30. So.
We all had different schedules for this game, so it's really quite a little bit of a miracle that any of us are here. So
Yeah.
because we were all getting different information, but
It's nice to see you both here.
yeah.
Thanks.
But nevertheless, we're ready to roll. The Rebels are starting with senior guard Haley Smith, sophomore Addie Kimball, sophomore Emma McPherson, junior Taya Lego, and junior Katie Campbell.
And the Cobras get the tip off there. Yeah, they start with Ayana Tibbetts, Macy Pord, Karen Baker, Ava Welch, and Anna Canales.
So last Friday, the Rebels played, I'm drawing a blank on who they played, but
Richmond,
the Richmond Bobcats, and they played a 2-3 for the most part. I didn't see what they were in to start this game, but I would expect to see that at some point from them.
Yeah, Cobras with the steal there.
And they'll miss that shot. Good board there by McPherson. Good dish there from the Cobras.
I'd expect we're going to see the Cobras with some pressure. That's something the Rebels have struggled with all year.
Yeah, and it does look like the Rebels are getting right into that 2-3 zone that we spoke of. Andy, I think they had a few issues with that last Friday. What do they need to do differently?
Well, the big thing, if you want to play zone, you can't get down by a lot. It's very hard to play zone when you have a big deficit, because the other team can just stand there and pass the ball around the outside and just play the clock game. So if you want to keep playing a zone, you have to score and you have to keep yourself in it.
Cobras are starting in a full court man, it looks like. They're going to get an easy bucket here by number 12.
That is Ayanna Tibbetts.
So yeah, the Rebels, they're a young team, and they have at times struggled with pressure this year, so we'll see if they can figure out a way to break this press. Typical rule of thumb, what's the best way to break a man press for the Rebels?
Screens, and get the screens to get the ball in, and then just beat it with the dribble. That's the easiest way to beat the man press.
So we'll see if the Rebels can conjure up something to do that this evening.
And yeah, like you said, they're in that half-court 2-3 zone. I mean, you know, in my opinion, the zone is good when you maybe are undersized and the other team is not good at shooting on the outside. If the other team's good shooting, you want to be in a man.
The Bobcats on Friday night had a good big center underneath that gave the Rebels fits even in that 2-3. So right now it looks like Carrabec's just quick, and they're looking to run.
Yep. There's two for Karen Baker.
Cobra's up 4-0 early here. Yeah, on Friday, the thing I'm seeing differently from Friday to today is that the Bobcats had no interest in pushing. They were a half-court team, and now the Cobras are pushing as soon as they get the ball, so the Rebels will need to adjust to that as well.
Yes. And that's something I think we've seen the Rebels struggle with earlier in the year, so hopefully they can make some adjustments.
Got away with the travel. No, she didn't. I'm sorry. So Rebels forced a turnover there. 4-0 Cobras, 2 minutes into the first period here.
Yeah, and like you said, they're in that man full court press, so you got to set picks for each other.
Yeah, and you see Coach Newell there directing Campbell to come towards the ball a little bit more, just to keep the defender from sneaking in between to tip that away.
Yeah, we've seen that. That's kind of, it's hard. It's easier said than done, but you always have to come to the ball if you especially if the pass isn't crisp.
So the Rebels tried to set a screen there. I almost wonder if they would have been better off just clearing the way and just letting her dribble through it on her own. But we'll see if they make that adjustment. Jump shot there by number 14. Good number.
Now turnover under the basket here.
Macy Flord.
That's going to be 24, Ava Welch with 2 points.
And so the Cobras with a quick start, up 6-0 here. Coach Newell's going to use his first timeout, see if he can rein in the Lady Rebels here and get something moving offensively.
Yeah, so far the Cobras with 3 different people on the score sheet here. 2 points apiece. Kind of some easy buckets for them because the Rebels have had some turnovers on their own defensive side of the court.
So we have, the Rebels have 3 games this week, boys and girls. We play Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I don't know who they play Wednesday and Friday. Friday's game is early. It's going to be at 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And Wednesday, we're not sure. It's either 5 or 5:30 and 6:30 or 7. So it is 5. We're getting notice from the background that it's 5 on Wednesday. And again, you don't happen to know who they play, do you, Josh? No. We'll see if we can get that to you.
Cobra's still in that.
Wiscasset on Friday.
Might be Wiscasset on Friday. That might be why the game's early. I'm not sure. But Rebels with another turnover here. Cobras. Back to the basket.
So what happened there is we said that the Rebels want to beat that press with dribbling, but the Cobras forced the Rebels to give it to Lego, and Lego is not a ball handler. She's a post player. So a good job by the Cobras to force the ball into her, but as for the Rebels, you want to get that ball back into the hands of a ball handler.
Another take there by number 15 for the Cobras, Karen Baker. And yeah, the Cobras will pull off the press here, at least for now. I don't think the Rebels got past half court with that Cobra press.
No, and when they did have the ball on the other side of the court, I think we got away with a travel there.
They do get a turnover though.
They turned the ball over because the Cobras were stepping into the passing lanes and going to the passes just like that. Now Emma did go to that ball, it just wasn't.
Number 12 for the Cobras, Ayana Tibbetts.
That pass just wasn't where she could really get to it, but what we saw earlier in the game, the Rebels not going to the ball. They've got to go hard to the ball.
Yeah, and if you're the Rebels and you know you're a little bit outmatched with this game and lots of games this year, what things can you focus on outside of the scoreboard to maybe just make improvements and get better as individuals and as a team?
I would say you work on breaking the press. Teams are going to do that to you until you prove you can do it. So, okay, maybe the score's not going your way. That's 14 Macy Pord with 2. So maybe the scoreboard's not going your way. Just work on setting the ball screens, or setting your picks, setting your screens. We talked about the differences of that in some earlier broadcasts. When they do a zone press, work on breaking that.
Yeah,
and,
I think.
And then go from there.
Yeah, I think number 15 to the basket, that's Karen Baker. I think she's got 6 now.
6 by my count.
Yeah, I think if you're the Rebels, you do need to just not look at the scoreboard and just focus on doing something better, getting better as an individual, and then as a team, do something better, whether it's like you said, setting a good screen or playing good defense for one possession or whatever it may be, but one thing at a time and just make small increments.
Yeah,
especially in a game like this.
And you mentioned the Rebels are a young team, so at this point in the year, it's play for next year. Do things, work on the fundamentals that are going to make you better next year, so you're competitive next year.
So Cobra's up 18-0 here, 3 minutes to play in the first, and yeah, the Rebels are just having a little trouble with maintaining possession. I don't think we've got a shot off yet, so gonna get a couple of subs in here. Number 3 for the Rebels, Quinn Coolidge checking in, along with number 1, Maya Buck.
Travel. Yeah, I just got mixed up on the pivot foot there. It's hard sometimes. She just came off the bench, so it's hard to get right up to game speed. Rebels seem to be a little confused on the defense here, or I'm not sure what they're in. That's 14. Macy Pord with, yeah. Was that a 3 or 2? Like 2.
Good screen there by Buck. McPherson. Back to Kimball. Rebels still looking at their first shot off here. McPherson back to Buck. Like to see them try to get a shot and just make that the point of the possession.
Yeah, I think she had her in the paint right off the bat, but it's quick. You know, the game moves fast. If you don't get that pass there, and Carrabec's been doing a good job getting in those passing lanes, so those lanes are only open for a split second, and then they've got a Cobra standing in the way.
I like their snake down there.
Yeah, the team mascot, Scott, they bring it with them.
Jewel mentioned that the Cobras brought their own mascot. It's a Cobra in a basket, reminds me of the Jungle Book. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Disney movie. Shere Khan, is that?
Yeah, that's good. Or is he the
tiger?
He
might be the tiger.
I think he's the tiger.
Yeah, he might be the tiger.
You'll have to look that up or something. I'm not sure. I don't remember the
Well,
snake.
I know there's a couple of Disney fanatics at home at my house watching tonight, and one of them is a Guns N' Roses fan, actually. So
I think I know who you're talking about. I think she can name the whole band, can't she?
She can name the whole band. Her favorite is Axl Rose, but she calls him Alex. So. But she's also a Jungle Book fan, back to the Cobras.
Well, maybe she can borrow a phone and get that answer to us.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get that answered from the Disney fanatics at home. Cobras with another steal.
Like I said, they keep doing a good job. They're getting in the passing lanes. the Rebels are just going to have to come to the ball stronger. Good board there by the Rebels.
Good job dribbling there by Buck. That's not Buck, that's Haley Smith. Good D by the Cobras, force a jump, and they're going to maintain possession.
So she did a great job getting down there. Maybe try to keep the ball on her hip a little bit better and just keep it protected. You saw her kind of lift that ball up to chest level, and that's when the Cobras were able to grab it and force the jump ball.
Rebels still in that 2-3.
And that's something that if they're going to stay in that, that's fine. You know, just focus on doing that well. I didn't see who scored that.
That was number 15 for the Cobras.
Karen Baker.
And I'm being told that the snake's name is Ka, K-A-A.
Okay.
So that's what we'll call the Cobra on the bench here.
Ka.
It's Ka. And then yeah, Shere Khan must be the Tiger.
The Tiger, yeah.
Number 5 for the Rebels, Riley Cooper checking in to give number 15 Haley Smith a blow. 22-0 here, 30 seconds to play in the first.
Ka reminds me of the performance out in Las Vegas there that used to be playing for quite a while.
We did get a shot off, so I am happy to see that. And yeah, not to critique any coaching or anything, but I also, well, I understand staying in the 2-3. I'd also like to see him maybe work on a different D when there's options to do. But if they're not capable of doing it, then I guess you're limited. Buck with the ball.
Yeah, and that's
hopefully she sees the clock. Yeah,
gotta get it up. Get it up. I think if you're the Rebels, those are the things you want to work on. That's situational awareness. That's just know the clock, like you were saying. Get it up.
So after the first period, 22-0 here. Cobras on top. And if we can, I might get Jewel to swing over to the sponsorship wall.
I was looking at the other stuff. Cool.
And we want to thank all the sponsors up there. Again, we talked about it last Friday, but all those businesses that donated, that money goes right to the boosters, which supports all the athletic programs at Telstar. And it's really an important thing. It's the boosters helps pay for new uniforms, new basketballs, new baseballs, new baseball bats, whatever it may be. It's stuff that's not in the budget for the school. And
maybe a second gymnasium someday.
Yeah, but it's really an important program, and oftentimes, you know, people think that the school budget needs to be increased to get more money for sports, but in most cases, other school districts, it's the boosters that funds that sort of stuff and not the budget. So we thank those businesses up there. There's going to be a few more added coming up. So if you're not up there and you would like to be, feel free to reach out. Best way to reach out would be to send an email to Clean Cut Painting Company, which would be cleancutpaintingcompany@gmail.com, and we can get you in touch with the boosters and get your banner up there. So.
Some of those are up on the track too, right?
Yes, and the boosters started that when the football program was going. I think it might be a separate boosters for the football program. They might have combined, but either way, same idea. And we thank all those businesses.
That's awesome.
Steal there by number 12 for the Cobras, Ayana Tibbetts, and she'll get the bucket.
No, pretty diverse scoring so far for the Cobras. 4 people on the stat sheet, spreading it out between 3 of them pretty good. I did receive a text message earlier from Coach Kimball of the high school boys, Telstar High School boys, and sounds like he is going to be available for an interview at some point during the game here. So hopefully we can get him on the air and get the inside scoop on the next game coming up.
Yeah, we'll get a preview of that. It sounds like I think Carrabec has a good boys program, and then of course Telstar's having a good season, so it should be a good matchup.
Yeah, I'm told the girls are 10-4 for the Cobras, so obviously they've got a good winning record, and we're unofficially don't know, but I was told 11-3 for the Carrabec boys. So. And
I believe the Rebels are 9-4. I think they play different schedules. I'm not sure they're in the same conference now, but Coach Kimball will know all that, so we'll check with him on that later on. Checking in for the Rebels, number 11, Lexi Indermule. She'll give Emma McPherson a blow. Rebels still looking for their first bucket.
This good shot.
There's a good look.
Oh, that was a good shot. You're going to take that all day.
That was number 3, Quinn Coolidge. And yeah, going back to, that's probably the Rebels' best strength is the inbounds play. They seem to get good looks off of that.
Yeah, and they did a good job forcing the jump ball on the offensive boards too. So
if you're looking for positives, if you're the Rebels to take out of this game, I think you know, you have some good basics for the inbounds plays, and we just need to carry those over to the.
That's 31.
The rest of the game.
Amaya Tibbetts for the Cobras.
And yeah, I think if you're the Rebels, like I said, there's clearly a little bit of a talent gap here. So again, normally we would say, well, let's see if we can win a quarter, or let's see if we can win a half. If you're the Rebels, I think if you just try to win a possession and then just take it one possession at a time.
Absolutely. You know, win one possession and then try to win the next one, and so on. You know, it starts with the small steps. I think you're right. I think that's the approach that you have to take, just the possession by possession approach. And eventually you start linking those possessions together. You start looking at, okay, let's win the quarter, let's win the half.
Notice there was nobody in the comfy chair today. I don't know if that that auction didn't happen, or.
Well, I think Coach Pelletier's kids weren't here to win it. So.
Well, I suppose so. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't. He might be the only one that buys tickets. I don't know.
Well, I'm bringing a Wednesday and Friday.
Okay.
Leah said she'd bring her own money.
Well, there you go.
Foot was on the line there for number 33.
The Rebels get a turnover. Oh, don't give it back. They gave it back. Carrabec, I would expect them to slow the game down. Obviously, you put a sizable lead here in the second. So
I think sometimes it gets overlooked that, and we've talked about this with actually the boys a little bit, but this can be a tough game for Carrabec as well in terms of keeping sharp and making sure that his players are ready to go when they get to the playoffs and stuff like that.
Sure. So. Yeah, I mean, if I'm Carrabec, I would take this opportunity to maybe challenge my players with some, I would say, extra things. You know, maybe you tell them, all right, girls, we're only gonna shoot, you know, the ball when we get it in the paint. So you work on your ball movement. You say, okay, we're not gonna take the wide open outside shot. We're gonna move it around. You set up other things. We're not gonna shoot until we've had 3 passes or whatever. Just to find, you know, work on those skills, I guess. But
I talked about this with Coach Kimball a little bit when they were heading up to play, you know, a little bit of a weaker opponent, and he said one of the things they might do is there's a bucket there by number 12 for the Cobras.
Ayana Tibbetts.
He said one of the things they might do is go all left hand or all opposite hand with your dribbling.
Sure.
But yeah, I like the extra passing and layups only, some stuff like that. And it's not just about keeping the score reasonable at that point. It's more to just give your players something to work on to get better at.
Right, because they're playing, obviously, they're 10-4. They're probably looking at playoff pictures, and they want to stay sharp for that.
And then also, I think, like he's doing here, find some different rotations and see what works best. They're gonna bring in a whole new group here.
Yep.
5 for 5. They only have 10 players, so I expect all their players are gonna see some minutes tonight. Rebels are getting all theirs in as well, it seems.
We've got Caitlin Delarama coming in, Leah Price.
And for the Rebels, we see number 2 for the first time, Bella Patillo, sophomore.
Macy Poor checking in for the Cobras. Oh, Morgan Stuber for the Cobras. And I'm probably missing one, but
good back cut there. Good finish. Number 14, Macy Flord. She's got some points for the Cobras.
She's got 8 points by my count. I've got at least three Cobras with 8 points. Ava Welch with 2 and Amaya Tibbetts with 4 by my count, but that's unofficial. I wanted her to shoot that, Danny.
Yeah, if you're the Rebels right now, I think just for the sake of practice, if you get a remotely open look, I think you've got to take it. Nice looking shot there. Didn't fall, but good rebound and good finish by number 24 for the Cobras, Ava Welch. So it looks like the Cobras have basically split up their starters, put them with 2 or 3 bench players, and they're just swapping back and forth at this point. So
Yeah, and that's probably, like you were saying, to just give them an experience playing with different groups of people. You know, maybe some of the things the starters can do will wear on the bench players can learn from, and so on. And like you were saying, just experiment with new combinations. That's a good shot. The Rebels have got to try to work on getting those off those defensive boards there. Don't want to give up easy buckets. I think the Rebels might have got a piece of that shot, actually. I'm not sure. There we go.
Crowd erupts with a bucket from, who's that?
12.
Number 12, Katie Campbell. And the Rebels are on the board. 2 minutes to play here in the second.
There we go. There we go. 2-on-1. Push it, girls. This is what. Push it. Oh.
Got away with a little step there. Another good jump shot.
It was a good, good shot to get off. There we go. Like you were saying, though, that the Rebels got a good possession. Now try to string it up with a second one.
Yeah, they had really 2 good possessions there. They had 4 shots in 2 possessions. It's just more than they've had the whole game. So
it was Ava Welch for the Cobras with a layup.
I think it's confidence and it's momentum. And you get that little bit of confidence, and then they all of a sudden.
Looks like Emma McPherson's checking in for number 5. Riley Cooper is coming out for the Rebels. Got a chance for a steal there.
Was floored there to the basket. Kick it out. Got away with this extra step. Another step there.
Another step there.
But the Rebels get the steal anyways.
Yeah, good job by Patillo to stay in bounds and grab that ball. Take that shot.
Foot on the line, but we'll take it.
It's a good shot to take.
Number 11 chases that down for the Rebels.
There's the Cobras getting in that passing lane.
McPherson to inbound.
Double dribble. We couldn't see it over here, but something looked a little funny about that. Ball came up too high.
Minutes to play here in the second. Cobras moving the ball. That's a travel. I'm sorry, but you can't pivot and take a step without dribbling.
No.
That was number 42 though for the Cobras.
Not sure where the officials were looking there.
Delarma.
Happened right in front of them.
Again, basketball has changed, and Coach Pelletier and I go back and forth on this. We argue about this, but the rule is you can't take a step. It's that without dribbling. It's that simple.
You are allowed some movement if you're going to put the dribble down, though, correct?
Yeah, but without a dribble, you can't pivot and take a step like that, I don't think.
And I'm not sure how high school rules compare to NBA. I do think that the NBA rules are a little different than high school in that regard.
And they say, you get a step or 2 steps on a layup. And yes, you do, but to me, that's just more of a common sense momentum thing. And technically in the rule book, I don't think you do. I don't think it says you can have 2 steps on a layup in the rule book.
I don't know. I think it does in the NBA.
Well,
they allow a gather step and then one more after that, or something along that line. But again, there's also a difference, and I don't really like that rule myself. But good job by the Cobras to get that shot off.
Yeah, and the Rebels made an attempt. They got blocked, but they were aware of the clock and they tried to get it off. So good job by them as well. So that brings us to the half. Rebels 2, Cobras 38, and Western Hills Access Television YouTube is where you can find us if you're looking. I'm Danny Whitney, joined by Andy, Jewel Clark, Brooks Morton, Josh Morton in the background. We'll be back for the second half in about 10 minutes.
I said, no, I'm not going to go there. When you said the cobra's name is Carrabec.
All right, welcome back. All right, welcome back to the second half here of Carrabec Cobras versus the Telstar Rebels. 38-2 here at the half. We're here on Western Hills Access Television and YouTube. I'm Danny Whitney, joined by Andy Whitney. Jewel Clark on the camera today. Josh Morton doing the work in the background. Brooks Morton's here as well.
So I think we're going to have Coach Kimball on at some point here.
All right, Coach Kimball's going to come up here, and we're going to do a little preview of the boys' game. It looks like he's making his way up now, so we appreciate that. So Andy, what do you want to see out of the Lady Rebels here to start the second half?
I'd like to see them do what we were talking about, focus on the small things, play possession, one possession at a time, and just, try to link a few good possessions together.
All right, we'll see if they can do that.
And we are joined by Coach Kimball of the Telstar Rebel Boys team. How are you doing, Coach?
Doing good. Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming up. We appreciate the insight here into the Carrabec game coming up. What can you tell us about Carrabec?
They're a good team. They're solid. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They all the film I've watched, they're very diligent in their half-court offense. They just keep working the ball side to side. They wait for you to make a mistake, really. They will get out and run, but it's not really how they want to play. They want to play a half-court game and just grind it out and beat you 45-40 is how they want to play for the most part. But they're very, both ends of the floor, they're just solid is the way I would describe them. They don't make mistakes defensively. They keep you out of the paint, and they just wait for you to make turnovers.
So, Coach, we talked earlier, and you mentioned keeping a fast pace. What are you guys going to do to kind of maintain that fast pace?
We want to play that way the rest of the year. We want to play just how we did against Richmond. We're going to be up. We're going to be pressing, and look to not let Carrabec get comfortable in their half-court offense, and chances for us to get out and run and just use our depth and use our athleticism to our advantage.
And Coach, is Carrabec, are they in a different conference now than you, or are you still in the same conference?
So Carrabec is in Class C, but they play in the East-West Conference.
Okay.
But they had a few more crossover games, a couple crossover games out of conference, but they do play in the East-West.
So are they a potential playoff matchup?
No.
No, they're not.
Because they're in C.
Because they're in C, okay.
Yeah.
So you play them just once?
No, we're playing them again next week. We go to Carrabec next Monday.
And is that your final game of the year?
No, because we have to make up the Vinyl Haven game.
Okay.
So on Wednesday the 5th, we're going to Vinyl Haven.
Okay.
Yeah, and that'll be the last one.
So 5 games remaining.
Yep.
All right. And we are 9-4?
Yes.
Now, how do the heel points look right now? Is that still a thing in high school basketball, or how does that work, and where are you guys situated?
Yeah, we're in 3rd place right now. Got a pretty good hold on 3rd place with, trying to recall, I want to say it was either, I think Pine Tree is the next closest team. There's really no chance of us catching St. Dom's or Valley ahead of us. So, barring some catastrophic collapse here in the last 5 games, we should be in the 3rd seed, knock on wood. That's where we should end up, which would line us up with a 3-6 matchup, either potentially like Forest Hills or who was the other one? I think it was Forest Hills, or maybe a Buckfield matchup in the first round is what it would look like.
So, Coach, I know you were missing Riley on Friday against the Bobcats. You expect him back today and healthy?
He's back. He's feeling better. Still probably not 100%. So when I texted him this morning, he said he's feeling a lot better, but he said I'm probably going to need some rest. So, you'll see me probably playing him in spurts, and where in the past, he was a kid that could just run all game. So I'm definitely going to try and limit his minutes at a time and try and keep him fresh and just keep us all a little more fresh where we are going to be up and pressuring.
Yeah, and having a little bit of a busy week here, does that factor into your game plan at all when it comes to subbing?
A little bit, but I don't know. I'm more just. I try not to think that way. I mean, you got to win the game you're in, you know, and then kind of go from there. I don't have Dakota tonight. Dakota pulled his groin in practice the other night, so Dakota is out. So that definitely hurts us. Where he's a spark plug off the bench, as you saw in the Richmond game. So. But having Riley back, I'm going to start both bigs and Riley and Brody and Connor. So, I mean, we still got Reggie, we still got Cooper, our usual kind of rotation there. But, you know, depending on how things go and matchups-wise, might have to go to one of our other bench guards, you know, maybe Evan Parsons or somebody defensively. So we'll see how that kind of shakes out.
Last question from me. I noticed on Friday, and I don't know if the stats bear this out or not, but I don't know if it was just a lack of good screen there by number 10 for the Rebels. If it was just because you didn't have Riley, but it seemed like there was more of a desire to push the ball inside. Is that gonna be your strategy moving forward?
Yeah, no, we definitely want to do that in general. We've been talking about that, crashing the boards offensively, getting inside, playing inside out, not relying on the outside shot as much. And yeah, I think that playing fast just kind of lends itself to that because you are attacking, you're transitioning, and you're looking to get in the paint.
So one thing I think we noticed at the last game, defensively, you guys initially seemed to struggle with their press. They had a lot of fast breaks. They were sending a guy long, but it seemed like you made an adjustment at halftime. What did you tell the kids, and are you going to come up with kind of the same game plan tonight?
You mean when we were our struggle with our press and them beating us long?
Yes, they were. Yeah, exactly. You guys were pressing, and they were kind of beating you long over the top.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what we've kind of the way we've coached it is that's what you're giving up when you're playing up is over the top and long. And so we did make an adjustment and kind of tell Johnny and Grady, like, give that kid one more step and let's not get beat long anymore. But initially, you know, with the press, and you got to give up something if you're going to be up and at him. And I actually thought Grady on the one that he recovered and got the block, I thought he made a good play.
Well, we did too.
Yeah, but we definitely did make an adjustment there, and we'll see. Carrabec is a quick team, so. But in order to be effective in pressuring the ball, you know, you've got to kind of sacrifice something. So we'll see how it plays out. But you know, that's how we're coaching them, is to be up and give up. And obviously, you're not giving up long, but that's the one thing that you're vulnerable to. So we'll see if they try to take advantage of that as well tonight.
And one last question, actually, Coach. I wanted to mention Cooper. He had 19 points the other night, and they were all in the second half. And I think 16 of them came on the block on your press break, essentially. Talk about his knack to be able to. Seems like he has a knack to get to the right place at the right time.
Yeah, he really does. The boys joke about it all the time how.
Sorry.
Cooper can somehow manage to just sneak in behind the defense, and that's when other teams go zone. It was really great to see Cooper finishing. He's struggled with finishing around the rim this year. I think he's just really finally getting comfortable and settling in. This is essentially Cooper's first year of high school basketball. He missed all of last year. He never had any JV experience, but he's a kid that's smart and works hard, and like you said, he has a knack for finding where the soft spot is, and lucky for him, the soft spot happened to be 2 feet away from the basket against that 1-2-2 the other night.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, Coach. This is Coach Kimball with the Telstar Rebels High School boys team, and we certainly wish you the best, and we really do appreciate you coming up here and adding something to the broadcast. So,
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
good luck.
Great voice.
Thank you.
Believe it or not, I've actually heard him sing, and he can sing pretty well too, Jewel.
Did a little drama back in the day.
That was Addie Kimball with that last bucket. Rebels have
Rebels
somebody
have somebody
down here,
down.
so we'll get a timeout. That's number 1 for Carrabec. So again, thanks to Coach Kimball for the high school boys varsity Rebels coming up to join us for a couple minutes. And while we were doing that,
was that 15 that just scored?
1.
There was 1. Leah Price then just
While
scored.
we were
for the
doing
Cobras.
that, the Rebels are really having a pretty decent third period here. It's actually, the score this half is 4-2 in Carrabec's favor. But the Rebels have really locked down defensively.
Yeah, and hey, you know, they could win the quarter if they keep playing this kind of defense. You know, it's not, well, that's not going to help them win the quarter, but
yeah, we talked about winning possessions and stuff, and you're right, they have a shot here. If they can win a couple more possessions or even just one more, they could win this quarter. So good job by the Rebels.
Yep.
Making a halftime adjustment. Good take there by 33.
Yeah.
Got away with an over the back. So the Rebels here with a chance. A minute 24 to play in the third. And like you said, they have a chance here with a bucket, or a 3 would give them the lead in the quarter, but a bucket would tie it.
Well, let's see if we can do that right here. That's the goal.
And again, I think even shorter than that, the goal was to get a shot, to get a good shot. Next possession.
Yep. Next possession.
Good take there by number 1. So that might clinch the quarter
Leah Price
for the Cobras. But again, let's get a good shot. McPherson to bring it up. Get away with the travel.
Yeah.
And
so it's that little shuffle that we've actually seen it a lot by both teams. The officials haven't actually called it, which is a little surprising, but
all right.
Good board there by
Quinn.
the Rebels.
That's Quinn with the rebound. She pushes it. That's number 10, Addie Koskela.
Just got to watch your back. So on that, I would like to see the Rebels be a little more vocal in telling her that somebody's behind her.
Good D there by
Quinn
Coolidge. Did a nice job getting in front of the offensive player and not fouling, and really force a bad shot there.
Yeah, the Rebels just a lot of turnovers. They just had a hard time getting the ball up the court.
Yeah, and the Rebels are in a man.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've been in that. I apologize. I don't know if they've been in that the entire quarter.
I believe they have, but there's been so many turnovers both ways, it kind of makes it difficult to see.
So after 3 periods, Carrabec Cobras with 44, Rebels with 4. But like we said, much better quarter there by the Rebels.
Yeah, it was a 6-2 quarter by the Rebels.
And I think in part here, you do see the Cobras are making some adjustments and probably doing some of the things we talked about in the first half, where they're working on something. Maybe we'll try to see if we can figure out what that is in the fourth, but it might be 5 passes before they shoot or whatever. But they've clearly taken the foot off the gas a little bit, so kudos to the coach there for recognizing the situation. But yeah, we'll see if the Rebels can build on that a pretty good quarter and finish strong here in the fourth.
They do have a player with ice on her shoulder over there. I can't quite see who that is, but
and if I'm not to interrupt you, but Jewel's spanning over to the banners there that are the senior athletes, I think for all sports, basketball, skiing. And so we talked about that last time. Not sure who was responsible for that, if that was boosters, but those look very nice. Yeah, and a nice little keepsake for the seniors, I'm assuming, when they do graduate. So
I believe it was Haley Smith that is down with the injury. She's got her warm-up shirt on now with an ice pack on her shoulder, so hopefully she'll be all right. Rebels get the ball into the post there.
Good bucket there by number 10, Adeline Koskela.
Yeah, hey, the Rebels are winning the quarter so far, Danny.
Yeah, and number 23 for the Rebels, Bailey Dunham, had a nice post move before that. The bucket didn't go, but it was a nice little drop step. So let's see what we got here. 1, 2. Well, nothing there, but Coach Newell going to call a timeout here. And during this timeout, maybe we can take one more look at those sponsors here. And again, all that money supports the boosters. And then after that, we can span through the crowd. I see some familiar faces over there.
Plenty of alumni here, that's for sure.
I see Mr. Amos Kimball up on the top row there, A&K Excavation. They're one of the sponsors on the wall. He's actually sitting right under his banner. I don't know if that's designed or not, but well done by Amos. He knows how to advertise.
Plenty of parents, former students, former coaches in the crowd.
Expect to see Coach Thurlow at some point. He's usually good for an appearance or two during the boys' game.
Well, that snow white hair of his is about the only snow we have on the ground these days, so he's certainly easy to spot with that hair. When I say that, because I'm jealous of it, because I'm afraid I'm going to end up with no hair. And
good take there again. That's a good take by number 24, Ava Welch. Again, to me, there's an extra step there, but I guess that's today's game.
Well, there's definitely been some extra steps on both teams, and a lot of it's just been the shuffles, and I'm just not sure why.
Yeah, and I mean, at some point you have to let things go, but
you do. But I guess my theory with that is, you're never going to learn if you don't enforce it, and that's, to me, in a game like this, you're in a learning. So some people say, well, they should back off on those things. They should back off on some of the fouls. I personally am not a fan of that. I like to call the game the way it's supposed to be called, so that the players can learn. But that's just me, and I might be from a different era, I guess.
Number 31 for the Cobras at the line, Amaya Tibbetts. I'm guessing she is sisters.
Jules agreeing with me, it sounds like, on the camera here. And did she make that? Yes.
Made them both. So.
And I think those are the first two free throws of the game for the Cobras. And I apologize if I missed one earlier in the game. And the Rebels, I think, had two free throws earlier as well. They think they missed theirs.
Yeah, Rebels continuing to play hard, continuing to hustle. Good take there by the Cobras, number 24.
Yeah, Eva Welch there. And by my count, she's got 10. And unofficially, she's the first one into double digits. The Cobras have pretty diversified scoring. We've got a lot of players with 8, 9 points on the board.
And one thing that I'd like to point out about the Rebels, it seems like a lot of times the players, and this goes for most of them, but they know what to do. It's just the execution and the skills that need to be developed a little more. Like in that situation, it was a very nice drive by number 5, Riley Cooper.
Yep.
Just the dribble was way out in front and just didn't have the right ball handling skills. So that's, in a way, that's a good sign if you're a coach, because you can work on those things. Sometimes you can't teach the game when you get into high school. You have to have a feel for it, but he can work on dribbling, he can work on passing.
Yeah, those kind of skills, to me, those skills are repetition. And we've talked about it in the past, about you have to play outside the basketball season. The coaches only have an hour to 2, I think, usually. A night for practice, and then when they're playing games, there's no practice. Who
24,
was that?
Ava Welch with the bucket there.
She scored, I think, the last 6 for the Cobras. So you only get, 3, 4, maybe 5 practices a week. I think Moreline, you're on 3 or 4 practices a week. So you really have to try to teach the players what to do, and then try to get them to work on it themselves, because those skills are all about repetition. Dribbling is all about repetition, and we see that the Rebels sometimes struggle with that. That's all, just do it 100 times, sit there, dribble the basketball 100 times. It only takes 10 minutes, but if you do it every night, you're going to get better at it. Same with shooting. Sometimes it's hard to practice shooting at home, but you can practice your motion, you can practice dribbling and going into your shot. You can do all those things in a garage or in a basement.
Number 25, Ashlyn Courtney to the line here for the Cobras. And yeah, I think Coach Newell can only teach so much of that. And like you're saying, it comes down to the Lady Rebels taking it upon themselves to do that work at home. And so hopefully they can work on that in the off season. And you can do that and still play other sports too and stuff. So I think that's a positive. So
yeah, for sure. And it is hard. A lot of these athletes are doing the other sports, and And that's kind of what I think a lot of small schools do struggle with, because you have so many two, three sport athletes, so they're not playing basketball year round, but they could be playing basketball year round, and play baseball, play the other sports, but continue to just find a way to sneak some of them in there, in between their baseball practice, your softball practice, your skiing, or whatever.
Nice bounce pass there by number 15, Karen Baker. Unable to finish, the Cobras were, but good little back cut there.
Yeah. Rebels just that was another case where they really like to see the Rebels keep the ball on their hip and keep their hip in between the defender and the ball. And that's how you protect the ball in that case. As soon as they swing it around, they've got it at their chest. They're just throwing it out there.
Number 40 with the bucket, Morgan Stuber. Good pick and roll there. Again, I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face, but got away with an extra step, didn't take a dribble, and took 2 steps, and to me that's a travel. But a good finish and a good roll off the pick.
Nice layup.
And number one, Leah Price. And to me, the pick and roll is really a little bit of a forgotten play in today's game with the spread offense and shooting threes, but really an effective play, mostly because you only need 2 people to do it. And so if you have if you have a decent ball handler and somebody who can finish at the rim or take a jump shot, because you can pick and pop too.
Right.
It's a good play, and there's many options off of it. So that's something maybe I'd like to see the Rebels work on, because they have a couple of forwards that could finish at the rim with that, and they have McPherson and Maya Buck, who can handle the ball a little bit, and use one of them in that pick and roll. And then if looking at the boys' game, same with them. You have Brody Morgan and Riley Hedden who can handle the ball, and then they have Johnny Marshall and Grady Kellogg, who can both get to the rim and shoot. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
I love seeing basketball when they're going to the rim. You said it earlier. It's kind of lost. I think you see the pick and pop more because people like threes.
Rebels forced a turnover there.
Yeah, and Carrabec, the Cobras, some people say, well, why wouldn't she touch the ball? Well, she's got to touch the ball, because if she doesn't, the Rebels might have a breakaway layup.
Yeah. So
it's going to be a backcourt violation if you're the Cobras, but you still go after the ball, because then it's a side out, and you give your team a chance to get back and set up for defense.
3.5 minutes to play here in the 4th. Carrabec Cobras versus the Telstar Rebels. I'm Danny Whitney, joined by Andy Whitney, Jewel Clark on the camera, Josh Morton behind the scenes, along with Brooks. We're here broadcasting live on Western Hills Access Television and YouTube.
Patillo with the rebound there for the Rebels. Well, it's going to be Rebels ball on the sideline here. We'll see if you mentioned earlier that they've had some success running some out-of-bounds plays. We'll see what they can do here on their offensive side of the court.
Again, following this game at about 7 o'clock, or 15 minutes after the end of this game, will be the boys varsity Rebels versus the Carrabec Cobra varsity team. Expected to be a good game, Andy. We talked with Coach Kimball here earlier this game, and sounds like it should be a fun matchup for the Rebels.
Yeah, Coach Kimball had a lot of good insight into the game, so we certainly appreciate having him on. And I expect a tough matchup. Record-wise, it sounds like the Cobras are a little better than Richmond, and we obviously saw the Rebels. They beat Richmond, but it was a good game. Rebels obviously have Riley Hedden back, one of their outside shooters. So what I'd like to see is I'd like to see their players that we saw step up last game continue. We saw Marshall step up and Cooper Morgan step up, and I'd like to see those guys give the same contribution along with Riley.
There's number 1, Leah Price with the bucket. Yeah, and I think I don't fully understand how the conferences have shifted, but it sounds like Carrabec is still in Class C, so an 11-3 record in Class C is really pretty impressive. So I would expect to see a good ball club. So the Rebels are certainly up for the challenge. We'll see if they can meet it. And that was number 1, Leah Price, with that last bucket for the
by my count, that puts her in double digits with 10.
Good little spin move there by number 40 for the Cobras, Morgan Stuber. She was the one that had that nice bucket off the pick and roll earlier.
And there's just the Rebels just need to work on that ball handling and protecting that basketball while they're coming up the court.
And you can hear the Cobras coach telling his team to slow down. So I think, like I said, we talked about what they might do, and I think that's one of the things they've focused on is maybe running through their offense.
Yeah.
And just seeing plays through and not rushing it. Rebels need to get somebody back.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think that he wants them to work on their half-court offense right now because they obviously don't want to run the score up, but like you've said, they need to still practice.
And there's an example you mentioned earlier, the refs continuing to call the game. That's a tough one there, but that's really an illegal screen by the Rebels and probably is going to get called most games, so hopefully after the game or maybe sometime during the game, even the official would just pull them aside and say, we're not going to call it right now, but just so you know, that's an illegal screen.
Yeah, because otherwise, like you said, they're going to do it. They're going to do it when it's a close game.
Yeah, and wonder why it's being called all of a sudden.
Right.
So, 45 seconds left here in the fourth. 63-6. Cobras on top. You can see the Cobra boys out getting loose, getting ready to take the court. And like we said, we'll be live with that game here on Western Hills Access Television and YouTube about 15 minutes after the conclusion of this game.
We're on Channel 11, right?
Yes, Channel 11. What TV?
And you saw the
with a shot.
You saw the Cobras pass
So
up.
if I'm the Rebels here, let's finish with a good possession. Let's get a jump shot.
Well, you've got the right idea.
Well, and the Cobras should just run it out here.
Yeah, I would expect them just to pass on the perimeter here.
So while you
I'll tell you
yours,
the
I'll run
scores.
through the Rebels here. So the end of the fourth quarter, 63-6, Carrabec Cobras over the Lady Rebels. Unofficial scoring, although for the Rebels it's relatively official. Adeline Koskela with 2, Addie Kimball with 2, and Katie Campbell with 2.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, the unofficial scoring for the Cobras. I know I am missing at least 2 points here, but I've got Leah Price with 10, Ayanna Tibbetts with 9, Macy Pord with 8, Karen Baker with 9, Ava Welch with 14, Amy Tibbetts with 4, and Morgan Stuber with 2. But like I said, I know we are missing at least 2 points in that.
So Coach Thurlow is in the building, as we mentioned earlier, so happy to see him come. Again, we'll be back for the boys varsity Rebels versus the varsity Cobras in about 15 minutes. Again, Western Hills Access Television, Channel 11, YouTube. I'm Danny Whitney, joined by Andy Whitney, Joe Clark on the camera, Brooks and Josh Morton behind the scenes. And we'll be back in 15 minutes for our conclusion of the triple header today with the Carrabec Cobras.